Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 513. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going okay. It's been a while.
Sure has.
It felt weird. Not talking about movies for so many weeks.
Correct.
But we're back, and this week we got a pretty high profile one here. We're talking about Longlegs, which is out now on VOD platforms. We're also going to be going over some we've been watching on the watch list and new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Quick apology. I know that the last few episodes just kind of came out all at once, and that's because I got way backed up with editing, and so a lot of the episode, everything was late, basically. So I apologize for that, but I'm hoping to be back on a regular editing schedule now, so that shouldn't happen again in the future, hopefully. With that, let's get into our review. Again, we're talking about Longlegs. This is written and directed by Osgood Perkins. I have a synopsis here. In pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying killing spree. It stars Micah Monroe, Nicolas Cage, Blair Underwood. Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of Longlegs?
Longlegs. I gotta say, I was pretty excited for this.
Same.
I only have seen one other Osgood Perkins movie, which was The Blackcoat's Daughter, which, for the most part, I enjoyed. It was very promising in the sense of stylistic choices and just kind of thin on story. But all in all, Blackcoat's Daughter was there was flashes of something. So with Longlegs coming out and the overall hype, I figured hopefully all the issues with his prior movie are kind of ironed out. But they're not. They're worse. They're just worse. This is fine-ish, I guess. But holy shit, is this movie lacking in a lot of ways.
I somewhat disagree with you. I agree that it is somewhat lacking, but I enjoyed this overall. I thought that this was a pretty entertaining kind of crime thriller in the vein of, Silence of the Lambs or Seven or one of those. There were a lot of things that I liked about this. I thought it was adequately creepy. I thought there were some kind of slightly surprising moments. But I guess I just really enjoyed just the overall kind of vibe of it. I like, serial killer type movies, like serial killer mysteries, hunting down a serial killer, all of that stuff. I liked Micah Monroe in this. Nicolas Cage was extremely unhinged, almost to a comical level. I saw this one little trailer thing or whatever, and it was a behind the scenes. And what they did was they equipped a heart monitor on Micah Monroe and recorded her heartbeat when she went in to see Nicolas Cage for the first time in that interrogation scene. And her heart rate was it was crazy. Her heart rate just exploded, and she was actually terrified of him. But for me, I was I would have a hard time not laughing walking into that room and seeing it. I don't know. I didn't find yes, he was creepy, but in kind of a funny sort of way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to me. I just feel like he was extremely underutilized here to the point where it feels like he doesn't need to be here. At least not in the sense that he is.
Right.
It's just there's not enough for me. There's a lot of this in terms of infrastructure that seems really good, the story, the characters, some of the stylistic choices. There's stuff here, but just the overall execution of it is just, it could have been so much more.
Yeah, I think
really disappointed.
I think the main highlight here is that the foundation, like the bones of this movie, are really good, and it's a very compelling story almost. And like some of the marketing behind this and stuff, where they sort of leaned into the almost analog horror elements. Unfortunately, that's not really what this movie is, and I feel like that it does overall become disappointing because you see the potential there with this.
Yeah.
I didn't sure it was creepy. There were some creepy moments, but from everything that I sort of was expecting, maybe that's my fault that my expectations were a little bit too high with this. I was expecting it to be just like terrifying, but
Yeah.
I did not find it to be
No,
terrifying.
it's
Again,
not at all.
like I did find it to be entertaining. I found it to be compelling. I liked the overall story of where it was going. And even like when they were kind of bringing in the supernatural elements, when that started to pop up, where you're like, oh, is this, could this be some supernatural stuff that's happening here? I was liking all of that too. True Detective is another one that I feel like this kind of felt
Th-
like.
This felt to me, it feels exactly like The Outsider.
Mm.
Like
Hmm.
her
Yeah.
character is kind of like Cynthia Erivo's character, where
Yeah.
she doesn't have any people skills.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
able to
She
recognize things.
seems could be some autism happening here.
Yeah, it's just, and I to your point, I 100% loved where this started going towards the end. I appreciate that, and I like the commitment there. I like that. Just, I think the biggest problem for me is there wasn't enough like mystery. Like
Hmm.
everything was just kind of like he failed so miserably at like metering it out information. It's just like something's introduced and then they like explain it immediately.
Well, I think
Even like the
yeah,
supernatural stuff.
I think a good example of that is the kind of cryptic notes, the
Yes.
cipher or whatever. So one of the interesting things is that he writes these like super cryptic notes, like the Zodiac killer or whatever, and it is immediately solved by Micah Monroe's character because he sends her a note that
Yeah.
that basically contains the code to decipher it, and then
Yes.
that's it.
It's
So
like
it's like,
immediate.
yeah. So I think it is one of these movies where like it'll take one step forward and two steps back. It like visually love the look of this. I thought it was great. Takes place in the 90s, but it's not like it doesn't like rub your face in the fact that it's in the 90s. It's like a subtle thing, and it looks authentic. But I very much enjoyed the cinematography and the look of it and all of that. I liked the flashback sequences, how they would change it to an almost like Super 8 style, like that kind of footage. I liked that, and how
Yeah.
they would change the aspect ratio and stuff like that. So like there's like I said before, the potential is there. Like it has something going for it, but I feel like the execution, like it just was sadly lacking.
Yeah. I mean, furthermore to the like the cipher thing, there's like almost Longlegs is like immediately like he's there. Like they're not gonna have issues finding him. He's kind of right there.
Well, yeah, and then like I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I don't think it's a spoiler. There's a scene when they're like when they figure out who he is and they're like, okay, let's go get him. And they just get him. Like there's no
There's no nothing.
manhunt. There's no manhunt. There's nothing involved with that. Like they just go pick him up. It's like they knew exactly where he was and he was there and he gave it. Like the crazy thing is the beginning of the movie, when we see her with that first case, it sets it up to be like crazy. You're just like, oh my gosh, this movie's gonna be nuts. But it's it's like it's not. It's just not. It's not
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then even like there's a certain aspect, like a key of sorts that they find in one of the old houses where you're like, oh shit, this is going to be a little bit interesting. And then literally like the next scene, they just kind of like explain it 80% of the way. And you're just like, oh, okay, well, the mystery's going there.
Yeah, definitely disappointing. Again, overall, I thought it was fine. I think my expectations were too high. I had a good time with it overall.
Yeah.
It is creepy at times, and the ending is pretty wild. It's got a pretty wild ending that you can kind of see coming.
Yeah.
But it's still, there's some shocks here and there, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I'd still give it a light recommend for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a light recommend, but man, it's just so disappointing.
I like where Osgood Perkins is going. Now, I also saw The Blackcoat's Daughter, and I did not like it very much at all. I liked this more. I also saw Gretel and Hansel, and I had the exact same problems with Gretel and Hansel that I have with his other movies, where it's like the atmosphere's there, it's just doesn't quite know how to make everything work together.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but I'm still interested in his stuff. Like when his next movie looks like it's called The Monkey. When twin brothers Hal and Bill discover their father's old monkey toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start occurring all around them. I'll see that. I'll check that out.
Hopefully, with it being a Stephen King movie.
Yeah,
because I feel like one of his biggest issues is the writing.
Yeah, so hopefully, is The Monkey, was that a short story or was that a full?
I want to say that was a short story.
I think it might have been a short story. I don't think that was a full novel. I mean, I never read it or anything. That cover is... Anyway. Let's go ahead and give Longlegs a score. I'm sitting at a 6 on this one.
I'm sitting at a 5.
At a 5, straight down the middle. There you go.
Right down the middle.
Longlegs is on VOD platforms now, so you can check it out. Let's talk about some of watching. I believe it is your turn this week, Kevin.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with one that it looks like you watched as well, and that's Horror in the High Desert 3 Firewatch.
I did, yeah. So just real quickly before you get into it, I saw the first one, but I forgot that I saw the first one because I didn't log it or anything on Letterboxd. So like, I was like, oh, okay. I saw that the third one came out, and I was like, I've been meaning to check this out because I remembered that you saw the first two and you liked the second one. And so I was like, okay, well, let me catch up with this series. And I had COVID a couple weeks ago, so I was basically just laying in bed watching movies. And so started watching the first one, and I realized that I had already seen it. So anyway, what did you think of the third one?
The third one, I gotta say, I was pretty excited for this when it dropped because I enjoyed the second one, surprisingly. Like, the second one was, like, legit. Had some really disturbing moments in it. So I was kind of excited to see if, 3 would escalate on that and build upon it. But honestly, this just felt like a complete rehash of number 1, but with all the interesting bits taken out. And the only aspects of this movie that have any sort of like horror element to it is just like footage from the first and second movie. Just like reused. Yeah. This is like when certain TV shows would just do like a clip show. This is what that felt like to me. It's just incredibly disappointed.
So in the first two, they allude to this like YouTuber or whatever, as influencer who goes looking for this area and also gets lost. They mention it in the first and second one. They're like, oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna tell that story. But then, like, so this one, it's there, but it's so there's nothing. It adds nothing. Like there's nothing added
Exactly.
to it.
It's like a stall tactic. It's like,
it was
hey,
so yeah. It's really bizarre what they did here. It's your just typical boring found footage nonsense. Which I agree with you when I watched the second one. There was something there for that one. Like there were a couple scenes in that one that are like actually very disturbing. The woman in the car, like that whole scene, incredible. Just really great scene.
Yeah, there's a couple moments like that in 2, and then 3 just has absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they replay that scene, so it's they're very very disappointing. So that's Horror in the High Desert 3 Firewatch. Sounds like it. That's a big pass from both of us on that.
Yeah, huge pass.
Let's see. I saw a number of really interesting things since we had last spoke. I'll start with the big one, and that's Alien Romulus. As you know, huge fan of the Alien series. I like all of them, and I'm not ashamed to say that I like all of them. I do not like the Alien versus Predator movies, but I don't consider those to be part of the same, canon. But Alien Romulus, I was pretty excited about. I went into it. I knew nothing. Knew nothing about the story. I knew that Fede Alvarez directed it. That's pretty much it. I avoided all trailers, everything. And man, I was so into this movie. This is great. This is exactly what I was hoping for with an Alien sequel. They go back to the roots. It's a straight horror movie. It is like so much practical effects work in this. I was shocked at the amount of practical effects at use in here. You have, actual sets being used. From what I could tell, most of the aliens are, animatronic or people in suits. I was blown away that they were somehow able to do this in 2024 and not overload it with CG garbage. Even the like the ships and stuff, it looked like they were using models, like how they used to do it.
Okay, cool.
So all of that is incredible. The lighting is incredible. It really does harken back to the first 2 Alien movies. It really does. Like all of the like computers and stuff on the ships are the same as in the original ones. So they didn't change any of that stuff. Everything feels very dark, wet, dated, rusty, used, all of that. And the story is, the story's fine. Like it's just another it's similar to any other Alien story. You have a group of people trying to survive against the aliens, right?
Yeah.
But there's some fun little twists in here. They, of course, did connect it to the overall story of the aliens. So bringing in, Alien Covenant and Prometheus, so that they brought that stuff into it as well, which I'm not as big of a fan of, but it doesn't really hinder the movie in any way. Highly recommend it. I loved it. I thought it was incredible, and being able to see it in the theater was a real treat. So definitely recommend Alien Romulus if you're a fan of the Alien series. And I would say, ranking them, this is number 3. So this is just below Alien and Aliens for me.
Pretty excited. The other thing I like about this movie coming out is it has finally gotten my wife to be like, let's go through the Alien series.
Oh yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that to be happening relatively soon.
Yeah. And you have David Johnson in here from Rye Lane. He plays Andy, the android.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great cast too. Man, I honestly can't wait to see it again. Like, and Fede Alvarez, I was already a fan of his. I liked Don't Breathe a lot. I liked the Evil Dead remake a lot. And I think that he was a really good choice to bring into this because watching it, he's clearly a fan of the series, and I think that he did a really amazing job with it. So yeah, highly recommend Alien Romulus. We got next.
I got Curtains from
Curtains.
1983. Curtains.
All right.
Behind every curtain, someone is waiting. Something is watching. So this sleazy film director essentially does like a casting call, 6 young actresses out to like his remote mansion to essentially audition for this movie that he's creating. And apparently every woman wants to be this character. Like it's this incredible character, career defining role. So these 6 actresses come out. They're kind of just hanging out, doing this like kind of audition, but not really. And guess what? Getting murdered one by one.
Oh,
Who could have foreseen this, right? So, a couple things here. A, cinematography was surprisingly stylish. There's a lot of just like small scale scenes that are just like elevated from the style. Performance is pretty good. Story wise, pretty good. Like everything's pretty solid, right? Now, the only issue is, and I watched this on Tubi. This is available on Tubi. Who could have guessed? I don't know if it's either A, this is in desperate need of a restoration, or B, the lighting originally was just this bad. Because so much of it is like extremely dark and you just can't see shit. Which takes an otherwise like, it's a pretty solid movie, like borderline something special. But with the lighting, you're just like, well, it ruins a lot. Like I literally can't see stuff.
That's a shame.
But it's definitely like a light recommend. Curtains is definitely worth your time.
I will add this to my list. This looks good. Another one that I would recommend is, and I'm probably gonna keep this list to just the good stuff that I saw over our little break. Oddity, like this is directed by Damian McCarthy. Man, it is kind of unfortunate that we went with Longlegs over Oddity because I think Oddity is way better than Longlegs. Oh, really? Oh yeah, I had a great time with Oddity. So this is about a woman who is she's a psychic, and she wants to figure out who murdered her twin sister, and she figures it out, and she sort of hatches this plan, and it is, I don't want to really say anything more than that. It's great. It's very, I mean, there's some jump scares in this, but like, man, there were more than a couple moments that really got me with this one. So it's almost like a sort of a modern folk horror. This director also did a movie called Caveat that came out a few years ago, and I liked that one a lot too. I thought that one was extremely creepy. So this guy is definitely one to watch. There's this wooden figure in Oddity that is so disturbing looking. If you go to the letterbox or just look at the poster, you can see it. But yeah, I definitely recommend Oddity. It was a really good time. Very surprised because I didn't really know much about it going into it. But yeah, good supernatural horror.
Yeah, this looks promising.
Yep.
I'm definitely into the idea of Oddity.
There's some supernatural elements, but there's also like a serial killer element to it as well. It's good stuff. It takes place in this really cool looking manner, I would say. It's good stuff. Definitely recommend.
Recommend?
What's that?
Humanoids from the Deep.
Hell yeah.
Barbara Peters, 1980. Tubi. Where else? Pacific Northwest. You got these weird creatures start attacking people. got this new cannery trying to open up. Some people are for it, some people are against it, like usual. And you got a scientist that's like, hey, let me check out these creatures. Something's up. But she's not telling you everything you need to know until towards the end. I gotta say, like, off the beginning, or from the beginning, they're pretty disturbing with the dogs, because the dogs get attacked first. And goddamn, is that a fucked up scene. Very disgusting. So just disclaimer, if you have a problem with dogs being murdered, the beginning of this is going to be really difficult. And then second, these weird ass creatures like to rape women.
Yeah.
So you have that in there too. Now I will say, luckily, like, they kind of like attack the woman onto the ground and then it cuts to the next scene. So it's not like it's super graphic.
Yeah.
But you know what's happening. I number one, I was not really prepared for how like gory this was. You know, like, produced by Corman, Humanoids from the Deep. It's kind of like schlocky in the beginning, you know, and you're just like, oh, okay, this is going to be kind of like hokey fun. But the effects work is fucking incredible. The creature design is great. It's bloody as all hell. And it just keeps getting bloodier and gorier, like, as the film goes on. And I just had a hell of a time with this thing.
Hell yeah.
I just don't understand how this isn't like a bigger film. Like, this should be.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like a lot of creature features just don't get the recognition that they deserve. Just because it's a creature feature, because it's sort of a Jaws ripoff.
Yeah,
like it's just it kind of sucks, because I'm a huge fan of this movie as well, and I'm a huge fan of a lot of these kind of creature features that, for whatever reason, man, they aren't taken as seriously as something like a slasher. I mean, it could be the Corman thing too. People don't take
but
Corman films quite as seriously.
I will say, like, out of the creature features, like, and or like Jaws ripoff, because in a lot of ways it's very reminiscent of like Piranha. It feels pretty much the same in a lot of ways, but this is just one of the best. You know, from what I've seen in that genre, this is up there. Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, Humanoids from the Deep. Check it out on Tubi. It's on Prime. It's on Shudder. You can definitely see this in multitude of ways. Another great one that I can recommend is Twilight of the Warriors Walled In, directed by Soy Chang. This is it's set in the 1980s. And it takes place in the famous walled city of, what's it called? Kuolong or something? I can't remember the name of it, but
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Kowloon.
Yeah, Kowloon or something like that. So it takes place in that, which in and of itself is an incredible real story. If you want to look that up, this is a straight up throwback Hong Kong action movie that is completely balls to the wall, and I loved every second of it. It's like this movie reminded me of how badass Hong Kong action cinema used to be. Like, I kind of forgot, because I feel like there hasn't been any kind of like really big, crazy Hong Kong action movies for a while. And maybe there has been, and I just like, they just haven't been on my radar or anything. But man, this one is absolutely nuts. Like, yeah, there's wire work in it, so you know it does very much harken back to the old days. But the stunts are incredible. The fight sequences there's a ton of them, and they're all like extremely satisfying. And I think it does a good job of kind of straddling the line between like new and old, where you do have this kind of visceral action that, you know, is sort of reminiscent of like The Raid or something like that. But then you have the very kind of hyper choreographed acrobatic type action that we saw, you know, a lot of back in the 80s and 90s with Hong Kong cinema. And it's it's a blast. I mean, if you're a fan of like martial arts action, this is you can't go wrong with this. It's pretty much nonstop. There's some filler here and there, but it's basically just about different gangs and the invasion of the triads into the walled city over this like kind of revenge plot. It's the story itself is like whatever. You're in it for the action. The story's fine, but you really want to come to this movie for the crazy over the top action. And like the sets and stuff it's very close quarters, and there's just like it's very there's a lot of verticality to it, because like the walled city is like this super compact area that's just full of different levels and stairs and wires and things protruding and all of that stuff, rebar and all of that. It's great. Highly recommend it. Twilight of the Warriors Walled In is the name.
The only other movie that I'm going to mention is Madman from 1981. This is Madman, 1981. This is a very unoriginal camp horror movie.
They thought they were alone.
They thought they were, and they were not. So it starts out with them telling like campfire story. It's kind of like Beetlejuice. There's this guy named Madman Mars. He's this old farmer that killed his family with an axe, and if you say his name 3 times, he starts coming after you. And you can't stop him. Once you unleash him, you can't stop him. And the synopsis say that they inadvertently summon him. That is not. They didn't inadvertently. They did it very, very intentionally. They were like, you have to say his name 3 times. And they just kept yelling his name. And they were essentially goading him. They're like, you're not real. Come get us, you fucker. Fucking loser. And guess what? He's summoned, and he's Madman Mars. He's got the axe. And these kids have no chance. They don't know what they unleashed. Again, super unoriginal. But I will say, if you're looking for... Essentially, the reason that me and my wife watched this is because we desperately wanted a summer camp horror movie. And we're kind of running out. This one's a little bit weird in the sense that it is a camp movie, but it's also autumn. Like, they're at sleepaway camp just before Thanksgiving, which doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, they're all bundled up. The leaves are dying. So you have like a nice autumnal feel to it.
Nice.
But it doesn't make sense. And the pacing's a little bit rough. A lot of nothing happens. But there are a couple of decent kills. So it's not all bad.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll probably add this to my list too. I'm always looking for new 80s slashers just to watch.
Yeah.
That's Madman. It's on Shudder. It's on Tubi. The last one I'll mention is MaXXXine. This is the Ty West one. This is the third in the X trilogy. I was very excited for this, and I was not let down. I had a great time with MaXXXine. I wouldn't call it a horror movie, actually. It's not really like there's violence in it here and there, but it's mostly just like about MaXXXine trying to make it in Hollywood. And I liked it a lot. It had this like really great 80s grime to it, LA grime. And I think that Ty West did a really great job showing that off. Like, this movie felt very authentic. The look, the cinematography, like it looked great. I loved the aesthetic of it and the vibe. Mia Goth was great in this as well. If you're not familiar, she's reprising her role from the first movie X. And I think maybe, ranking them, I think X is probably still the better of the 3, but this one, I enjoyed this a lot more than Pearl. So yeah, I would say I recommend the whole trilogy, but this one is also quite good. Like a lot of Ty West stuff, it's a bit of a slow burn, but it's still incredibly entertaining. And then you have like the Night Stalker during this time. I think that's who the serial killer that was going around. But yeah, good stuff. Definitely recommend it. What do we got coming out in theaters? We got Reagan.
What?
Reagan.
There's a Reagan movie coming to the theaters.
Yeah, the Dennis Quaid one. You haven't seen anything about this?
I have not.
Dennis Quaid is Reagan.
Oh my God, look at that poster.
Yes, sir. Obviously, this is going to be horrible.
I do love from the director of Bratz and Soul Surfer.
Yep.
The Even Stevens movie.
Oh, nice. The Even Stevens movie. Well, he's got pedigree, so.
Hell yeah.
We also have You Gotta Believe. That seems like, it's a baseball movie. Little League baseball team of misfits dedicate their season to a player's dying father. In doing so, they accomplish the impossible by reaching the World Series finals in a game that became an ESPN instant classic.
Okay. All right.
What is it? Luke Wilson and Greg Kinnear.
Oh.
That's pretty much it for theaters. Not a lot to really talk about there. VOD this week. Borderlands is coming to VOD. I know that you're highly anticipating that one. That's
Didn't
such a
it just
shit.
come out?
Oh yeah, but it made like $3 at the box office. So.
Well, yeah, you could tell from that trailer.
Oh, I knew it was going to be a disaster. Absolutely knew it. It was funny because there were a lot of ups and downs with my thoughts about the Borderlands movie because when they first announced it, they were like, "Oh, Cate Blanchett's in it," and then I was like, "Okay, well, she's pretty high profile. She usually doesn't do bad movies."
She's not signing on to bullshit movies. Usually.
Exactly. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Okay, that has me interested. Big fan of hers. And then they were like, "Oh, Eli Roth's directing it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of interesting." But then of course, everything crumbled when they were when the first teaser came out and they made it PG-13 and it's just just so many mistakes. It had potential to be a really cool over the top fun movie, but I heard that it's just an absolute train wreck. So, anyway, if you want to see it, that's coming out. We also have Trap, the M. Night Shyamalan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that one out. Hopefully it's good. I don't know. I purposely avoided all reviews and things from that one.
Same. Looking forward to it.
We also have Kinds of Kindness. I'll be checking that one out too. Got Bed of Nails, Running on Empty, Out Come the Wolves, Tokyo Cowboy, Crossing. I'm just going to rattle these off here. Don't Turn Your Back on Friday Night. The Exorcism of St. Patrick. The Lockdown. Hinkley. I don't know if that's a documentary or Hinkley. Looks like maybe a doc.
Probably. Sounds like a doc.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on here? This whole thing this website's going crazy right now. I don't understand what's happening. It's jumping down to 3 years ahead.
Oh, yeah. What's going on in the future?
A lot of nothing from the looks of it. All right, we got First Shift. We got Concussed, The American Dream. That's a documentary. It looks like it's about football concussions. We got Nessie, The Other Laurens. And The Divine Protector, The Master Salt Begins. The Divine Protector, The Master Salt Begins. Repel the evil, return the curses, protect the divine.
Oh, yeah.
At 7:07 p.m., the occult club members are holding a ritual ceremony to summon Master Salt in Kimono Girls High School in Tokyo to help one of the members, Nanako, who has been struck by mysterious incidents. What? Okay.
Reading a review here on Letterboxd, it says that this is paid for and conceived by the cult leader behind Happy Science, the far-right Japanese equivalent of Scientology. Cults making movies now.
Strange. All right. We let's see what we have on Netflix. We got The Deliverance. And we got Untamed Royals. Next week is Rebel Ridge. Very excited about that.
Is that the Jeremy Saulnier movie?
Yep.
It does look pretty good.
Very excited. Let's see. Amazon Prime. What do we got? What do we got on Amazon Prime? Anything? Nothing? Nope. Nothing. Hulu? No. What do we got on Hulu here this week? Looks like Kinds of Kindness is going to be on Hulu.
Oh, nice.
Yep. On Shudder. What do we got on Shudder? Nothing. Nothing on Shudder. Check to see what we got on Blu-ray. Drive's coming out in 4K. We got Reptilicus coming out in 4K. That's from 1961.
Reptilicus. That's a great title.
Yeah. Reptilicus. The Mexico trilogy, which includes, this is Arrow putting this out. That includes El Mariachi and Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Those are also being released individually from the looks of it. We got Blood Cult from 1985.
Cult?
Blood Cult, yeah.
Yeah, there now. That's a cult movie I can get behind.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. Female students on a college campus are being killed and their body parts used for blood sacrifices. We got Eight Eyes, Alphaville from 1965. Amanda and the Alien from 1995. All right. Bastards from 2013. Got Interrogation from 1989. Watchers from earlier this year. Joyride from 1977. Focus from 2015. Frogs from 1974. The Bitter Ash from 1963. Squirm from 1976. Love me some Squirm.
Oh, Squirm is a classic.
Castle of Blood from 1964. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. You know, I tried to watch that and I had to turn it off. I was so bored. A Man Called Tiger from 1973. Looks like Beetlejuice, of course, is getting a new release in 4K. Got a steel book with it. Nightcaller from 2022. Castle of Blood. Did I already say Castle of Blood?
You already said Castle of Blood.
Yeah, I did.
Come on. Get it together.
No, there's 2 different releases. Oh, Tremors 7-movie collection.
What? There's 7 of them?
Evidently.
I had no idea.
I also didn't know that there were that many. I've seen some of the sequels, but
damn,
I was not aware that there were 7 of them. Every single one of the sequels is bad, just to be clear. They're all bad.
Yeah? All bad?
Every single one of them.
How many of them have Reba?
None.
Ah, that's
None
why.
Of the
that's your common denominator.
0 of the sequels. There. I mean, in the first sequel, Fred Ward comes back. So at least there's that.
You got Fred. That's good. That's promising.
But then Michael Gross is in most of the sequels.
Understandable.
But then like Jamie Kennedy takes over in the starting with the 5th one. So
apparently I watched Tremors 2.
Tremors 2 is when they like come out of the ground and they grow feet and they start walking around, which completely, negates the kind of the concept.
Yeah.
All right. What about Criterions this week?
Oh, we got 2, both from Albert Brooks.
Hell yeah.
So 1996's Mother with Debbie Reynolds and Rob Morrow. And then Real Life from 1979, which is...
I love Real Life.
Real Life is so fucking good.
I love that movie so much. It's so funny.
Yes. Very ahead of its time. It's just fantastic. Such a great movie.
I've never seen Mother, so maybe that's worth a look. I don't know. Cool. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. And if you could, take a minute to give us a review on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.